So welcome everybody. This is a planning and zoning commission meeting. We have a general meeting, a public hearing, and then another general meeting. It is Tuesday, February 24th, 2026, even though it feels like 2021. And we are coming to you live from Zoom here. So we have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is a general meeting we're going to go into, and it's the 2026 Plan of Conservation and Development discussion with H&H. I see Neil is here, who's been our shepherd through this process. I believe the agenda item here is to talk about the first draft of Chapter 7, which is Transportation and Mobility. And then we also received Chapters 1 and 2 in our packets to go over or to provide any comment or feedback from those if you have them, even though I believe staff asked for that as of last week. So I will, unless Jeremy or Fred have anything to add, I'll kick it off to Neil to start talking about, transportation. Guys, anything? Nothing? Neil, I cannot hear you. I can see your mouth moving.
Can you hear me in the meantime?
Yep, we got you,
Yep,
Greg.
I can hear you, Greg. Yeah.
All right.
I can see Neil and I can see him trying to talk.
Same thing here.
Something I deal with almost every day of my life.
Hey,
Hear
Can
me?
you
Can you
hear
hear
me
me?
now?
Yes,
there
now
he
we can hear
Okay,
goes.
you.
good.
We can hear you now.
Phew, little heart skipped a beat there. Well, thank you. My name is Neil Desai, principal planner at H&H, and with me is Greg Del Rio, traffic engineer extraordinaire of H&H, and we'd like to talk mostly about the transportation and mobility chapter. The chapter 1 and 2 is the design versions of chapter 1 and 2, so you can see how the text with images, it looks, and, certainly if you have comments on that, let us know. There is a little bit of new content as you've noticed in the manuscript versions, we just have placeholders for tables and images. So there are some tables and charts that we did introduce into the design version. So, questions and comments about those are also certainly welcome. But I'll start off with transportation and mobility, and I think I think I'd want to start. Well, I mean, Greg being having done a lot of traffic work in Darien, I think I'd like to have you just kind of really quickly talk about some of the findings and some of the recommendations involving traffic. But at the same time, after that, I'd like to hear from any of the commission about any kind of substantive points, whether it's recommendations that you like, recommendations that are missing, any of the content that needs to be that is inaccurate, and then if they're kind of more kind of, I guess, minor corrections and things. Maybe that's something we could go through email, so that we don't have to spend time talking about more of the smaller corrections. I should also note that chapter 1 and 2, the version you had, there were a few changes that Jamie had. Corrections that Jamie had submitted to us that I unfortunately had missed. I have a version of that those are corrected. There's just four little things, which are dates and several other things. So the version of chapter 1 and 2 that you have doesn't have those corrections into it. So just want to make sure you knew about that. But certainly I've revised it, and we'll carry that forward as we put the chapters all together. So, Greg, is there anything you'd like to kind of bring up about this chapter that you think is important, whether it's kind of the initial data findings and or the recommendations?
Thanks, Neil. Yeah, I don't have anything, to flip through. I usually do. Um, but I think, the main emphasis, and, we've been around for a long time here, is understanding, and trying to develop the balance between all modes, and increasing safety, mobility for all users, and really trying to enhance the experience and the dignity for, everyone involved, right? So, especially the walking, the biking, the transit, while managing the growth, has been sort of, at this level of the POCD. Those are sort of the high level goals of, what we should be striving for, I think, and what every community wants to strive for. And Darien really is in a lot of ways, it's in a good place with a lot of this, right? It has the sidewalks, it has the crosswalks, it has, the signals in the right places, and it doesn't have too much. While at the same time, there's always opportunity to make, these improvements and these tweaks. And then, while also balancing the forces of growth. There's a lot of information in there. The one little tidbit, I don't know if you guys have shared any of there's always a question about the volume and the traffic. And while I don't have anything very prepared, I want to do a little bit of let's see if I can do a screen share. And let me get this up first, and hopefully this goes fairly smoothly. Um, do I do it on my end, guys, or do you give me the screen share?
Fred's in control, so he'll.
Yeah, Greg, you should have control of the screen. You should be able to share.
Okay, hold on. So where is that? Down below? Share. There you go. I got it. Okay, and I'm sharing my screen. Share.
There we go. Good.
All right. Get that out of the way. All right. So this is Connecticut DOT's traffic monitor, right? Traffic data viewer, it's called. And I'll send you guys the link, and you can peruse this all you want and have some fun. But once you put on the layers, these are the traffic count locations. And so if you just let me zoom out a little bit to give you context, here's the station. We're on Boston Post Road, and I'm going to pick a segment that we were, recently discussing, right, around the gas station and around this, Sedgwick and Boston Post Road. That's station 024. And so you come down here into this area, and you can punch in the station ID, which I've already done in preparation. And oh geez, what just happened? Everything was perfect. Okay, let's see if I can the trying to tag this graph and make it large. If
I
you
think
guys can see it.
I think we can see it. I think we're
All
good.
right, yeah, because when I hit that, things get wonky. So, but take a look. This is real data from DOT's website. So, in certain areas, and this is right in Boston Post Road, right? Traffic is on a daily basis. These aren't peak hours or anything like that. So peak hours does tend to, start to tell a different story. But on a daily basis, the volumes have been going down over the years, a little bit. But that's not a consistent finding. I would say most of the areas we checked in the last week, we kind of spot checked a few. We went over to Norotan Heights. We went up and down different neighborhoods. Local streets are generally down and trending a little bit down over the years, while the ramps and 95 have actually shown a different trend on a daily basis. So there's probably a little more digging I have to do to kind of understand that. They're probably happening at different times of the day, and the peaks that happen on the ramps may be more influential. There's a lot of ways that the math works out, but I thought that was an interesting thing to share with you guys, and I'm going to continue to look at this because I'm as surprised as probably everybody else is. But some interesting trends, and this goes right through, COVID, right? So there's 2020, right? And then we started bouncing up a little bit. So again,
Yeah.
that's just one station. It's just illustrative of sort of, what we've been looking at, not just there, but in other of the count locations as well.
No, I think this is good, and I think when we do sort of the interactive POCD, we should include probably like links to this sort of portal that's maybe got some stuff pre-configured if we can, because it is useful, and at least in terms of traffic, right? Because that seems to be certainly the number one concern here, with as it relates to sort of this chapter.
One one thing that I specifically had in my notes when reviewing this, and it's interesting that you went straight to that, is that the latest data is from 2023,
Right.
and a lot has happened in our region, Norwalk, Stamford, and Darien, that like where we are and below us and above us on the corridor, a lot has changed. When will these numbers at the DOT be updated?
These stations they're all over the place. There's not a constant posting. Some of the numbers, yeah, they get posted at different times. So if I go to a different station, I might find something a little more recent.
So they don't post these annually,
Yeah.
clearly, because this station is information is going on, the third year of aging.
Right, right, right. And then if you dig down deeper into those charts and sources, you actually can, sometimes I'll actually see that there's 24, 25 data, but they haven't included it in the annual number, which was the trend I was showing you
Yeah.
before. So yeah, that I could look into that to understand that. Um, yeah, so
For me
yeah,
personally, that's a huge, 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 huge thing.
yeah. No,
And
understood.
you're right. I think the text within that section where we start talking about data should reflect your point that the data, that the example that we showed, it only goes to 2023, and right between Stanford and Norwalk, Wegmans or whatever, Costco or what, all these things opening up, how much does that affect the volumes? So that's something that we should um, mention in that section.
Absolutely.
So I think I just want to draw everyone's attention to the recommendations portion. I think the background is pretty good, across the board. Um, the only comments I have on the recommendations is it seems like 2.2, basically safe walking and biking, is kind of similar to 5, which is promote a culture of walking and biking. So I don't know if we kind of want to sort of consolidate those two somehow. And then we also have the recently, I believe, established Sidewalk Commission via the RTM. So I wanted to make sure that that gets mentioned in here, as well, because that
Mm.
kind of falls under the purview of, an advisory commission set up just to facilitate, sort of like the walking and the sidewalks and the accessibility on foot, sort of culture around not just the downtown areas, but around the schools as well.
Right. Yes, that's right. That's a recent creation, the Sidewalk Commission, and I think we should certainly acknowledge that in the background, and then uh, I think probably maybe the way to go is to we say here in the recommendations to have a walk bike committee, but I think probably to have a separate bicycle committee would be the recommendation in that case, as opposed to um a joint
Yeah, because I think the sidewalk, I think we're generally, I agree, sidewalks is really going to cover foot pedestrians, but cycling is really talking about road sharing and accessibility on sort of the main arteries versus, we really don't want to see people riding their bikes
Right.
on the sidewalks unless they're kind of like kids, going to school or something.
Right. Right. And as far as your recommendation to combine number two and number five, that makes a lot of sense. I think I would want to somehow, 'cause there's already a lot there on number two.
Right. I know two is pretty
Uh,
bulky.
but at a minimum, maybe put it right after it, or find a better way to combine them into one recommendation. I think I'm wondering whether, number two has more to do with kind of like the infrastructure of things, and number five is more. I know it does have infrastructure things with the Darien Walks program, more programmatic, but
Yeah.
it's a good suggestion that we can work on.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely think at a minimum we should put them next to each other
Yeah.
so the flow is there because I felt the same way. I was like, didn't I just talk, see this?
Yeah. And do we get a sense around the order, a priority order of recommendations? I didn't get, like, are we going to give it some thought to classify them in order of magnitude, order of priority?
So yeah, that's a important question because I was thinking today, we did I was thinking today about the town planning workshop where the kind of the conclusion of that was kind of a series of priorities and which would inform the recommendations. Um, there's I think there's two ways to do it. There's one way would be to within this um, large list of recommendations, you were to sort them in terms of what would be priority, what would be, or what would come next, in terms of short term, midterm. The other way to do it is once we have all the recommendations, keep the recommendations as they are in this particular section, in all these different sections, and then have a separate implementation table
Hmm.
which sorts them
Outlines priorities.
into priorities and that sort of thing. So
Okay.
uh, I definitely want we definitely want to have the POCD reflect some sort of order of operations.
And
Um,
accountability, who does what?
and exactly, and so that's the thing. So the table of which would have a column saying which departments would be involved, and so um, the way I've kind of designed this up was that would be the very last element would be that implementation section where we have a table of all the recommendations, which would have ballpark budget costs and who would
Okay.
be involved. So that's how we've currently been thinking about it. I think in the text generally we certainly communicate in the beginning what seems to be the priorities from the community engagement, and we try to do that in every chapter to call out what are the priorities and hopefully
Yeah,
that
I
you
think
know
that makes sense.
yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Just an aside, and I just want to make sure I say it now so I don't lose it, is I like the idea of the creating and interspersing the gateway treatments into town.
Mhm.
And then the app for Darien, because I think we're chartering on territory that we've not done, experienced before with regards to combination of off-street parking and parking garages. And we're to be able to track who parks where,
Right.
like just to say the X amount of visitors that come to Darien, 80% all one off-street parking and nobody wants to use the parking garage. That would be helpful to know,
Mhm.
for us in our future development and how we inform our decision making. And then also just the visitors that come to Darien, understanding where to park, where to walk, that you don't have to change parking spots to get from here, A to B. I think all of that is great stuff, and I think that's a very expansive idea.
Yeah,
It's a lot of money.
I was going to add to that, under point six, instead of design, we sort of have one, but it's
Mhm.
bare bones, right? It's coming off the exits on 95. There's like the signage that says town hall this way, library, police that way. So it's not like it's not that, I mean, those signs are obviously pretty dated. I don't even know when they were
Right.
last installed, but there is a wayfinding sign system here, but
Mhm.
maybe it's update, modernize,
Yep.
a refresh, that kind of language so that it's more than just a sign from 20 years ago on the off ramp of 95, but it's a little bit more comprehensive that, can do all the things we sort of want it to be able to do.
Right. Right. And Amy, when you said something about an app, is that correct, or did I misunderstand?
I don't, in my mind, when I was reading this, is there going to be an envision an app for Darien when visitors
Mhm.
come to understand where their parking opportunities are, if they're visiting a certain merchant, like where just a comprehensive get bodies in and out of our town more effectively because we're
Mhm.
building a whole lot of retail and restaurants that presumably are going to draw people from beyond our borders and thinking through minimizing that pain point in our traffic grid
I think
and
Yeah, I think 6C starts to contemplate that, but it doesn't go that far. I think
Mhm.
I think we should include because that's and maybe there's an example to feature, but we could include like, besides this town newsletter, social media, maybe it could all be communicated through, like you said, like
and
an app.
I'm sure the options are going to evolve with technology in ways we can't even imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I know
true.
I know that Jay-Z is making a big push to modernize the parking infrastructure so that we don't have like I'm a commuter, so I've got the tag
Yeah.
for the Leroy lot. I know we're trying to move to the instead of going to the kiosk and typing in your insurance to like the app on the phone. I know that David over in Corbin is going to have signs that sort of display in the parking garages. This is how many spaces are in garage A. This is what's
Uh-huh.
available on the street. We could make a recommendation of looking, sort of expanding on this initial dip your toe into technology in 2026 to do some type of like comprehensive town-wide, hey, here's where parking is available in town. You've got this
Yeah.
lot, that lot, this lot, that lot. Here's the occupancy, here's the cost, here's wherever, so that even not just people, coming in, but people who are in town that want to go out to lunch, have an idea of, okay, well, we're going to Tata and we're going to need to be able to park over here. Like,
Right.
might be a little bit of ways away, but we can certainly hint at, we should try and think about some
Yeah.
holistic town solution,
Yeah.
Hmm.
as
This
opposed
is
to a
this
bunch
is
of
a vision for
piecemeal
the next 10
solutions.
years.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Okay.
would add to that, in the conversations that I've had with Neil, Jeremy, and Fred, one of the big things has been, you know, conveying through the POCD, but I think it would be much better suited to an app, um, what the parking policies are, when parking is restricted, when it is available to the public. So not just where it is, but when it is available free of
Yeah.
charge and when it is, permitted and pay for parking. I think all of that would be much better suited to an app, much more accessible in an app form than it would be in the comp plan.
And sorry, Malcolm, I forgot to introduce you.
It's okay.
Uh,
I don't think he needs an introduction.
Malcolm Simpson, Malcolm Simpson, planner at H&H, just for the record, I guess I'll
Yes,
say
thank
that.
you for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of all that I had. I don't know if Jamie or if you want to kick it off, and I'll punt it over to George to see if you've got any additional comments in the last couple of minutes here.
I just wanted to mention that I appreciated seeing school traffic as a section. I think as we're looking at the renovation of MMS, I think we see a lot of congestion, and sometimes it can be a little what I consider unsafe as people are queuing onto the streets and trying to get out. but there's a lot of components to that. There's a 2 mile requirement to be 2 miles from the school if you wish to take the bus. And I think it's something that would have to be done in cooperation, with the town, but the school district, excuse me, the town and the school district. But I think there are things to be thought about there that could improve the flow.
Excellent. Great. Thanks. And MMS is one of the middle schools, right?
Yes, there's only one.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Which will be up for renovation on deck.
And that would be, I mean, there is collaboration between the Board of Ed and police and town. I would imagine currently for around the schools.
Right. Busing is just a little bit complicated because it can be it's very expensive and that cost keeps rising. And
Right.
so, it has to be, it would have to be well thought out, I think.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
George, anything over there? You're in.
Oh, I've got to come up with something, don't I? So,
Got to.
no, I think the recommendations were both good and now thoroughly covered by your comments, Adam and Amy. I did have some stuff in the report itself. I don't want to get too nitpicky, but let me just tick off a couple of things as I was reading through it, like the roadway network. I thought it might be useful to note now, in light of the developments in Norotan Heights, that West Avenue is a principal arterial roadway from the expanded Norotan Heights and Post Road downtown. As you were specifying certain other ones, I thought maybe that's a fair one to include as well.
All right.
And that's on page 4, the driving thing. And it also occurred to me as we were talking about the road diet, I thought that you're studying Boston Post Road in the gray there. I thought maybe a comment like, nonetheless, after several years of consideration, CT dot adjusted the road diet or adopted the road diet, can't read my own writing, on Route 1 in Norotan and west of Corbin Drive to the exit 13 entrance to I-95. Just to be sure folks know, we know there is in fact a road diet going on in certain spots.
There was a conclusion to this study.
Yes, which was rejected, but then apparently I don't know that we had anything to do with it. I think the state did it, actually.
Got it.
Because I don't recall the discussion. But anyway, I know a primary concern of, I was just a little linguistics here, I guess. The primary concern of residents is that redevelopment projects in Darien are contributing to the traffic congestion that they experience. There are multiple other contributing factors leading to the congestion. And then I would add, in fact, the Corbin district is not yet occupied, although construction traffic is significant.
George, are you talking about the first lines through like the first paragraph or further down?
Now I'm on page 6, top of page 6.
Thanks.
I was just, and would add, well, the Corbin district is not yet occupied. Construction traffic is significant. Nonetheless, there is cause for concern about the impact on traffic volume when the 800 plus parking spaces are in use. I make that comment because a lot of the discussion here is about the parking spots and the number of them, but not so much the flow in and out of them. So I am concerned about that and just thought I would highlight that.
Right.
And then on page 7, residents reported through the survey that speeding is a major concern, and certain residential streets like Hollow Tree, Brookside, and Leroy suggested that the town install speed cameras, speed bumps. Well, never mind. My comment was going to be that that's not up to P&Z, but you are going to handle that in a table when you're going to assign responsibility. So, sorry, scratch that. Don't take the time. And then again, I was thinking, but on page 9, this is around line 234, with the completion of Corbin District development in downtown may impact parking dynamics in downtown. While the project is providing over 800 on-site parking spaces through a combination of surface level and structured parking, it will likely increase the number of visitors to downtown and could adversely impact parking demand as well as traffic congestion.
Got it. And in and out flow. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just where I was concerned about that again. I guess we talked about the, so Westcog said that train station utilization went from 72% at Roten Heights and, no, Darien 72 and Roten Heights 77 in 2003. And then 2024 went to 42% in Darien and 62% at Roten Heights. That doesn't sound plausible to me. That it could go down 30% at Darien over a year. Are those years right? I guess is my question.
Greg had the same question on this one, and I clearly didn't answer that question on here.
Yeah. I mean, there was an effort here to say that spaces increased by 300. Okay.
Right.
I'm not even sure where 300 new spaces came from. But still, the utilization numbers, I'm skeptical of. Let me just say that. So I'll highlight maybe that ought to be checked.
Checked, or if it's not a helpful stat, it could be
just pull it.
Removed.
Yeah. I'm sure those who are on the wait list for permits would be very interested to know it's down to 42% around there.
Right.
There could be riots in the streets. I think that's all that's worthy of my notes at this point. So thank you for the time.
Thanks, George. I think one thing I wanted to mention, this is page 15, recommendation number 9. I think the whole park once, shop twice concept on line 479. I think I think that part of it is, finding ways for people to be able to navigate through foot on private lots, but I think it goes beyond that. And so, in looking at this again, I think I'd want to maybe put that whole recommendation within another recommendation up top, and just kind of call out the park once, shop twice concept, because that's really important ambition, so that you're thinking about making sure people are part of building the culture, and the infrastructure is to make sure people are able to park in one spot and not have to go back to their car and drive somewhere to the next parking lot.
Yeah.
Good.
It makes sense.
Say, by the way, if I can, is there a word? What is a sharrow? An SHIRROW?
A sharrow is what they do is, sharrow is it's a bike symbol with 2 little caret marks on top of it, and you'll see it on a roadway. Essentially it's meant to be a shared lane, so that bicycles are allowed along with cars, and it's usually used on slow speed streets as an indication that. And I think these days I think they've been going out of favor. I'm not sure. Maybe Adam or Greg knows more.
I've never once heard of that.
No, they're still. I've never heard they're going out of favor. They're the pavement markings. They're on like striping on the road, like you got your center line.
Maybe we'll just say striping.
It's the pavement marking that you see every now and then on bike routes.
Okay, arrows for sharing, I guess, or something.
Yeah, exactly, sharrows. So that
there may be others who don't know that word, and maybe there's a better way to.
Yeah, we could put in we could put in a snapshot. That's easy.
Yeah,
pictures.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
One quick thing that I heard a couple of times. It's a subtle nuance, but I want to make sure. And Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the implementation matrix and we don't really get to the level of quote unquote roles and responsibilities typically. We just list stakeholders
Right.
and
Who
then
would like DPW
yeah,
and
when you
the
put
bike
roles and
committee?
responsibilities on, it gets into a big conversation that everybody fights
Yeah,
over.
I think where Amy was getting at
Yeah,
is
I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page.
yeah,
That's
we're
all.
not trying to assign
Yeah,
homework, but what we do
Right.
want to do is have a notion of, sort of like priorities so
yeah,
that some
yeah,
future commission can say, not just, well, this is a grab bag of stuff we want to do, but these are the things we really want to do.
yeah,
And these are the nice to do's, and these would be
yeah,
pie in the sky stuff we could do if we really could, but just some notion of prioritization, and then if we were to do it, where would we look to go, and who would we work with in town to implement it versus as
right.
much as I think Amy and I'm sure Steve would love to just be able to dictate to the various groups in town
Of
what they
course
need to
you
do, since we don't have a budget so we can spend unlimited money. I think it'd be very difficult to once you go down that road as well.
I love how you loop me in that group.
It's perfect, right? You're on Zoom,
would.
there's nothing you can do. Yeah,
Yeah,
all right. Well,
and
perfect.
also, I think we want to make sure people know it's not typically the zoning commission that can
Right.
Right.
orchestrate a lot of
Right.
these
A
things.
lot of this stuff is outside of our purview anyway.
Yeah.
But we can, when you have something like a sidewalk commission, it gives us the ability to nudge developers. And so
Yeah,
it gives us a little more ammo.
yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, great. Jamie, any final words, comments for our distinguished consultants in the chats here before we let them go?
I'm good for now. Thank you.
All right. Neil was able to dodge the impending snowstorm and stay in New Jersey instead of having to travel back home.
That's right. I would have driven definitely, probably. It wouldn't have been as. I mean, I was impressed that the sidewalks were clean that first storm to walk from the station, but it's been too soon to
Yeah,
Do
right.
anything
So,
back.
expect that.
Yeah,
yeah,
especially with the Armageddon of New Jersey Transit while they fix that bridge right now. So.
Right. Oh, that too. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great.
Um,
Well, then I will let the H&H people. I don't think we need you, Greg, for anything else, right, guys?
Nope, I think we're
I was
off the
gonna say I
list.
don't think you need to stick around for another, to provide a testimony. So I think you guys are good. So thank you again for your
Thank you.
time.
All right.
I know we will see you, Neil, at least, and probably Malcolm in person in about 6.9 days from now.
yeah, you
So
got it.
next week in town hall. So we look forward to
Alrighty.
seeing you then.
See you then. Take
Okay,
Bye
care.
great,
bye.
guys.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.
Take
Have a good
care,
night.
everybody.
Okay, so we are moving right along. Let me close that and get back to the agenda. So now we are entering the public hearing portion of the evening. There are a number of these items which we will just be continued until next week, but I'm going to read them in anyway. So we're starting off with the first item on the agenda, the continuation of the public hearing regarding landfilling excavation regrading application 598. PL 25-193, Oliver Wilson Development, LLC, at 45 Old Farm Road. This is the proposal for regrading, filling, and excavation in connection with the installation of a new single-family residence, pool HVAC unit and generator, and associated retaining walls and utilities. The 1.05 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the north side of Old Farm Road, approximately 265 feet east of its intersection with Pondfield Lane, and is shown on Assessor's map number 66 as lot 94 in the R1 residential zone. Jeremy, or Fred, what do we
Yeah,
got
I
here?
can give you an update here. I know the applicant is putting some finishing touches on a revised plan. I've been in contact with Andy Sumalides on behalf of the applicant. Andy's the engineer, as well as the applicant's attorney, Bob Maslin, and they look forward to presenting this application next Tuesday, March 3rd, 7 p.m. here in Town Hall.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. So, Andy, I'm not sure. I see you on here muted, but we will see you certainly next week for this one. So, moving right along, we have the continuation again of the public hearing regarding flood damage prevented application number 387A as an apple, PL 25192, Shilpa and Kenton Rosenberry of 10 Holly Lane. This is the proposal to construct a pool, spa, and patio in the rear of the existing residence and to perform related site development activities within a regulated area, including the installation of stormwater management. The subject property is located on the west side of Holly Lane, 650 feet north of its intersection with Middlesex Road, and is shown on Assessor's map number 9 as lot 150 in the R1 zone. Gentlemen, what do we have for this guy in front of us tonight?
Yeah, so Adam, as you note, this application is for a new in-ground swimming pool, a spa, bluestone patio, barbecue area, and fencing. The improvements are mapped into the FEMA AE flood zone with a base flood elevation of 97.2 feet. However, we note the improvements to be constructed will be constructed at elevation 100.75 feet, roughly 3 feet above the base flood elevation of the flood zone. However, there's no letter of map amendment to remove the improvements from the flood zone. So that's why it's in front of the commission this evening. The application was submitted in conformance with Section 820 of the Darien zoning regulations under our flood damage prevention regulations. The application was referred out to Joe Canis of Ty and Bond. Mr. Canis submitted comments for the record dated November 10th and December 1st. On December 1st, Mr. Canis noted no further information was requested from the applicant. The application also went before the Environmental Protection Commission. The Environmental Protection Commission decided the application on January 7th. The application was also referred out to the building department. Mike Vitti, our building official, submitted an email for the record dated December 17th, noting no issue with the application. And this evening, I believe we have Andy Soumalides here to present the details of the application and answer any questions the commission may have.
Great. Yeah, I think that is a pretty good summary, Fred. So thank you. I see Andy is on camera. Welcome. Just state your name, for the record, and then give us the quick overview of what you're looking to do here, and then we'll keep this train moving.
Good evening. My name is Andy Soumalides. I'm a principal with Atlantic out of Westport. I'm just going to share my screen quickly and walk you through this. So this is an aerial of the site. The site here is 10 Holly. It's a little over an acre in size. What's before you tonight is for flood damage prevention. Stony Brook is over here on the east portion off-site, and a portion of our property is within the flood zone. The house was built in 2020-ish, 2019, 2020, I believe. So newly constructed home, driveway. What we're looking to do now is put in an in-ground pool in the rear of the property. We did go to EPC. The wetlands line is actually pretty tight along the back side of this property, even though it's a nice manicured lawn back there. So we had to go through that and received approval from that board. Here's our site plan.
Sorry, it looks like the pool is going to be mostly inside of that line, though, right?
Correct. So this is the wetlands line here. So everything here is wetlands.
Yep.
And we're just inside of that, in between, the house and that wetland line. So what we did here was there's an existing wood deck that comes out of the back of this house. We're going to be able to step down off of this wood deck to basically an elevated pool and patio. The pool and patio is a couple feet above the existing grade in the rear there. So it's basically supported by walls. This part of the pool basically sticks out of the ground a couple feet. We are capturing all the runoff from the patio areas and did a stone reservoir basically underneath the patio. So we pick up all that runoff and send it through perforated pipe and a stone layer beneath the patio and infiltrate right at the source. The drainage was designed, as you guys know, the fresh meadow approach, where we're not really removing any existing here anyways. It was already lawn. So it's for the 50-year storm event and the water quality volume. We meet both of those requirements. Pool equipment is located right here, and that is also elevated above the base flood elevation. In orange here, and everything north of that is what's the mapped flood zone line. Based on elevation, everything here in green and to the east, so basically this little portion is what's actually in the flood zone based on elevation. After the house was constructed, they actually sought a LOMAR for the house. So the house is actually removed from the flood zone, even though this line is shown through it. The house has actually been removed through FEMA, and the house is actually deemed not in the flood zone. We have a new propane tank being relocated in this vicinity, which services still the house and will service the pool. And all utilities basically come off of this corner. There's an existing electrical panel that will service the pool. And everything's basically located in this northern portion of the site. As part of going through EPC, as I mentioned, this is where that wetland line is. We did a pretty extensive buffer planting, so we basically enhanced the buffer that is currently there. There's a little bit of a buffer here that I'm sure was put in when the house was built, and we're basically expanding on that buffer around that whole perimeter. This will also help with water quality of the lawn areas to provide even additional treatment. The fence, we originally did have a fence, but we had the automatic cover, which suffices for the code. And as part of through the EPC proceedings, we actually removed that fence because we had it kind of navigating through the wetlands and they weren't happy with that. So we took that out. That pretty much it in a nutshell. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't. It's a pretty straightforward application, like Fred said. We got sign off from the peer reviewer, so I'll open it up to the commission. I guess I'm just reading off my screen, so I don't know where everybody else is, but I'll start with Jamie, who's on my left, and then work my way right.
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. Amy, you're up to bat with any comments, questions for Andy?
Sure. My question is, what if the auto cover regulations change and you require a fence?
Then we would have to go in for a fence and most likely would end up just around the pool.
Okay.
And not going through the wetland like we wanted to. We'll revisit that at that point, but because the code was that, we'll try again. We took it out. We didn't even fight or argue for it, call it. We just conceded. We would probably go back and if the code changes, we probably have a stronger argument to try and get it back into the wetland. Worst case scenario is we could just put it right around.
So you do have an option that would not be contingent upon EPC approval.
Correct.
Got it. All right. That's what I wanted to know.
I mean, we'd still need EPC approval because we're within their jurisdiction, but not within the wetland.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Understood.
George?
All set. Thank you.
Okay, great. So that's kind of it. I think we've crossed all of our dots, or crossed all of our T's and dotted all of our I's from a commission standpoint. This is a public hearing, so I will open it up to the general public if anybody would like to speak on behalf of this application. I guess you can try and do the react, raise your hand, or come on camera, or say, I'd like to say something, just let me know. And we'll happy to take public comment here. Okay, I am seeing none. No one offering to do that. So I think we're good to close the hearing here, right, guys? There's no
That's
reason
correct.
we can't, right? Yeah, so to do that, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing. I see Amy making a motion. I see George making a quick second just ahead of Jamie. So all those in favor of closing it? I think we've got 4-0. All right, so this one is closed for you, Andy, and we
Awesome.
will most
See you guys
likely
next
not
week.
deliberate on it tonight, though.
No worries. I'll see
Okay.
you guys next week.
Exactly. I think we'll probably try and tackle it next week.
All right. Awesome. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next application, which I will read in. This is site plan application number 314, special permit application number 345, PL 26-3, Darien Land Trust LLC, Piacentini Preserve at 96 Hoyt Street. I'm sorry for butchering your name. I've got a hard name too. Proposal to remove the existing asphalt driveway and to construct a new parking area with 5 parking spots for use by the public for visiting the Piacentini Preserve and to perform related site development activities. The 2.3 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the west side of Hoyt Street, approximately 140 feet north of its intersection with Echo Drive North, and is shown on Assessor's map number 30 as lot 75 in the R13 zone. Gentlemen, what do we got with this one?
Yeah, this application is also going to be continued to next week to allow the applicant, the Darien Land Trust, to respond to peer review comments from Joe Canis of Ty and Bond. We're going to continue this hearing to next week, March 3rd, in room 119 of Town Hall at 7 p.m.
Excellent. So anybody here for that will be there, next week with the bulk of these. So moving along to our last application in the public hearing. This is special permit application number 60 T as in Tom / site plan filling regrading application number 121G, also known as PL 26-5, Country Club of Darien at 300 Mansfield Avenue. This is the proposal to expand and modify 2 existing tennis courts to create 4 pickleball courts and a single tennis court and to perform related site development activities. The 139 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the east side of Mansfield Avenue, approximately 1,250 feet south of its intersection with Middlesex Road, and is shown on Assessor's map number 5 as lot 40 in the R2 zone. Gentlemen, what do we have here?
I'm going to recuse myself on this.
Correct.
Okay.
So since Amy is
and I
out,
see Steve is on the phone now, so you do have a quorum. Okay, I'm going to just turn off my.
Steve,
Yeah.
are you there? Are you there? Can you hear us?
I am here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
You can hear me?
We can hear you.
Perfect. All right. Can you see me?
We cannot.
Trying.
That's fine. All right, so we can continue because we do have a quorum for this. Fred, do we want to continue with this, or do we want to just push it because we kind of notified of a potential?
Yeah, so the applicant is not present this evening, so we are going to continue this to next week, March 3rd, in room 119 of Darien Town Hall at 7 p.m.
Okay, so anybody here for the Country Club of Darien's pickleball courts next week? So moving along out of the public hearing, we're going to go into the general meeting. So the first item on the general meeting is amendment of the special permit number 15H, site plan for Weburn Country Club at 410 Hollow Tree Ridge Road, also known as PL 25-198. And this is a proposal to renovate exterior terraces and outdoor patio areas. I believe this one will also be continued, Fred?
Nope, this is Jeremy. I did speak to the applicant tonight, and he said that he would be ready to go next week. In fact, that was his impression. So he's planning on proceeding March 3rd, room 119, Town Hall, 7 p.m.
Okay. I know that Mr. Riley is going to be recused from this application, which I believe was why he was raising his hand in the first place. So
correct.
like many other applicants, if you're here for WeBurn, that will be next week as well. Yep, thank you for that. Moving on in the general meeting, the following and last thing is amendment to the site business plan application 104C as in cat, special permit application 333-A, flood damage and prevention application number 349-A, land filling and regrading application number 558-A, B, also known as B 2660, 1852, Darien 1 LLC, Cloud 10 Smart Wash at 54 Boston Post Road. This is the proposal to construct a new building for the cleaning of floor mats. I see that attorney Mr. Klein is on the call here and has turned his camera on. So I will say, before we get to you guys, what do we have here with this application that we need to know
Here, I'll
about?
give you the 10-second summary. Basically, Town Club 10 Car Wash wishes to construct a new mat building adjacent to the dumpster previously approved by the commission, and that project is now under construction. The car wash building is about 10 by 14, 140 square feet. It's an enclosed building where folks who are vacuuming their vehicles can bring your car mats in. You're going to bring them into this little small building. From what I understand, the equipment looks maybe like a pop-up toaster. You put your mats in, you push them in, they come out clean, and then you can move along with vacuuming the rest of their car. So this is kind of a unique thing. You can imagine that such equipment like that needs to be indoors to be out of the elements. And it's really an opportunity for those who use the car wash. You may remember this is an automated car wash and that folks have to vacuum their own vehicles.
They do it themselves.
They do it themselves. And in this case, folks that wanted to go to that extra effort of walking your mats to the building and cleaning the mats, you instead of just vacuuming them, you'd have your opportunity. I know Jay Klein is here on behalf of the applicant. I will note that Brian McMahon did the engineering on this to look at the drainage and stormwater. And you'll note in the application that Joe Canis did review the uploaded plans and engineering report. And in an email February 19th, Joe Canis did sign off on the drainage analysis for this.
Right. So we got that. So, okay, Mr. Klein, I will cede the floor to you to give us a quick overview about what you're proposing here, and then we'll go from there.
Great. For the record, Jay Klein of Carmody Law here on behalf of Cloud 10. Let me know if you can't hear me. I've got a sleeping sick 1-year-old upstairs. So if I'm too quiet, let me know. And too bad. No, I'm just kidding. just let me know. And I've got my other partner here too with me. So in any event, give you the 90-second version of this. And we do have a rendering of the building or of the enclosure so that you guys can see it. Dan Chappell, why don't you just share your screen and show that so folks can see? I know it was in your packets. Jeremy summed it up nicely. You know, the Cloud 10 is finding that in some of their other locations where they have these mat washers on the outside, that when you have a real winter or expose the elements, when you have a real winter, the machines don't function as they're intended to. So for the Darien location, they want to put those mat washers in an enclosed structure so that, you know, on a day like today or a day like tomorrow, when you're washing your car, you can go ahead and clean your mats. The mat washer is displacing one of the vacuum spaces that we had originally contemplated, but we had an oversupply of those. So there'll be 33 spaces for customers to vacuum their cars still if they want to. And the good news, I think, you know, from a code compliance perspective, engineering perspective, no impacts on building coverage, site coverage, you know, all well under what is permitted in the SB zone. And just since we're here, and just so you see the rendering, same materials and look as the primary building that's being built today. And, you know, just so you all know, Cloud 10, if you've driven by the site, you know, when we don't have over a foot of snow, they're working. The goal is to complete construction sometime in April so that mid-May, we can all enjoy a grand opening and get a car wash and now our mats cleaned. So that's it. unless you folks have any questions or comments for us.
My only question, and then I'll open up to the rest of the commission, is just to verify, is this building going to be staffed at all? No, right?
No, it will not. It'll be self-service the same way that the vacuums are.
Just because it's an enclosed building, in terms of safety, there'll be lighting, there'll be the standard, is it going to close at dark? Just how does that, because an open parking spot is a little bit different than an enclosed, sort of
Right.
building, kind of off in a car wash, type of thing.
Yeah.
You want me
This
to
will
get that?
Oh, Brendan, go ahead if you want to answer that.
A couple things. Hi, I'm Brendan Johnson from Cloud 10. The picture that you see there is a little darker than it should be. That's just the architect wanted me to tell you.
Yeah.
It's the exact same. It's to match the building. You'll even notice there's a little slant in it. Those doors are automatic open. Like when you go into a hospital, they automatically open. They're censored because people are carrying mats. So they'll be locked at the end of the day. The obvious question probably someone's going to ask is, why didn't you put this on the original plan? And the answer to that is these mat washing machines, which think about it as a super high speed dishwasher for your rubber mats and your carpet mats. They didn't really exist 2 years ago. We just started putting them in. The clients love them, our customers love them. But as all of us know, this is the first real winter we've had. So we've had to shut them down because they freeze. And I have a very unhappy group of customers. So before we finish this, we said, let's put this building in so that we can keep it open all year long and heated. It'll be locked at night. It'll be locked with the rest of the building.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's just you wanted to verify that, which is great.
Yeah, good question.
So I will open it up to the rest of the I don't have any further questions. It's pretty straightforward. It's taking one parking spot. I'll say from firsthand experience, when you get your car washed and they forget to clean your wife's mats, it makes the whole thing seem quite pointless. So I will say it's probably a good addition. It's surprising how much mats matter. But I will open it up to the rest of the commission if they have any additional questions. And now that we've changed to a screen sharing, it looks like Amy is the first one that I see. So she's up to bat first.
I'm good. They answered the question about whether it was, secured and locked at night. So I'm good.
Perfect. All right. Jamie, do you have anything you'd like to inquire about?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Sounds groovy. Mr. Riley, I see you shaking your head negatively.
Right. Yep, all set. Thank you.
Looks pretty good. Chairman Mulvaney, anything you'd like to add here?
I'm good, thanks. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Sounds good.
Yep.
So this is just just the general meeting. So I'll take a quick straw poll, show of hands from the commission, who thinks this is a quick, good idea. We don't have to do anything formal, but if you think this is fine, just, give a raise. I see 1, 2, 3. It looks like Steve's raising his hand there. Yep. All right. So I think it's 5-0. So I think you're good. I think you've got your mat washing building there.
Great.
Thanks
so
everyone.
much, everyone.
Appreciate
Thanks a lot. I hope
Thanks
your
for your time.
kid's
Have a
feeling a
good
little
night.
bit better like mine.
Thanks.
Okay, great. So that concludes our general meeting for the evening. So we do have a number of things that we could potentially, that we should deliberate and potentially make a decision on. So we'll start off with the first application. I'll read these into the record just for good nature. This is the business site plan application 313, the special permit application 344, PL 25-120. This is Heights Corner LLC, 90, 100, 108 Heights Road. This is the proposal to redevelop the property as a mixed-use residential commercial, perform related site development activities, including the construction of the parking, the public plazas, installation, landscaping, lighting, stormwater. The applicant proposes to construct a 3-story mixed-use building, commercial space on the ground level, and 21 and 2 bedroom dwelling units on the upper floors. We spent a number of weeks on this application in a number of different hearings. They went what felt like a number of back and forth meetings with ARB to hammer out kind of the final design of the building. So we have included in the packet a draft resolution for an approval here. It is pretty extensive. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. That'll take another hour. I'll trust that you have read it. I will note from my personal wheel horses in finding 42. We are saying that the Architectural Review Board expressed a preference for the application to place a large boulder as the focal point. I completely disagree with that, and we've removed it. The commission is not requiring such boulders, so please don't feel the need to put those in there. We further added that in section, wherever I'm finding this, Fred.
Page 11?
Page 11, yeah. There was another one where we specifically noted, yes, it starts on landscaping plans, page 11, which goes into page 12. It says the plans shall be revised to remove the accent boulders recommended by the Architectural Review Board so that arduous requirement certainly is not there going forward. But I open it up to anybody else. Like I said, it's a pretty extensive set of findings and documents. I think the applicant went, above and beyond to try and make this, as appealing as possible to as many people. So I'll start with Jamie to my left now. I don't know what other people's cameras look like, but do you have anything that you'd like to add, amend, change? How's it looking to you?
No, thank you. I see that we have the that we strongly suggested the proposed water main extension, which is what we talked about last time.
Yep.
So, okay. Thank
Hopefully
you.
we can get that. Yep. Moving along to Amy in our
That was my same notation.
perfect, like that. Mr. Riley,
Oh, nicely done on the resolution. I'm good.
very comprehensive resolution here. And then
Yes.
Mr. Alvaney. Oh, you're muted. Can't hear you. So close. Nope. Just give us a thumbs up. I think we'll be, yeah. Nope, we had him. No, we lost him. Thumbs up. He's good. Okay, perfect. So no comments to add here. Like I said, this is a pretty extensive approval. So I think we're quite comfortable with where it is. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution as drafted. Amy makes a motion. Do I have a second? Jamie makes a second. All those in favor? This looks like a 5-0. We are good to go on this resolution. Excellent news. Okay, so moving along, coastal site plan review 391, flood damage prevention application 459, land filling and regrading application number 599, PL 25195, Simon and Stephanie Jones at 30 Plymouth Road. This is the proposal to construct a 2-story garage addition to the north side of the existing residence, expand the driveway, and construct a new pool, pergola, patio at the rear of the residence, and to perform related site development activities within a regulated area, including installation of a stormwater management and regrading of the property. The hearing closed on February 3rd of 2026. So we'll see we have a resolution in our packet here for 30 Plymouth. I watched this on video. This was also a pretty straightforward application. Staff, I think, did a great job drafting it up. There was nothing really too big to note in here. So I'll open it up to the commission. I have no further comments. I thought it was well done based on what I saw. So, Jamie, anything to add, amend, modify?
No comments. Thank you.
All right. Amy, you're looking like a no. She's looking
Good.
good. Mr. Riley, how are you looking here? He's looking
All
thumbs
good.
up. Mr. Alvaney, anything to add here?
No, I'm good.
Perfect. All right. So then I will entertain a motion to approve as drafted. Looks like Amy makes a motion. Do I have a second? Looks like Jamie makes a second. All those in favor? 5-0. All right, 30 Plymouth is approved. Excellent. And then moving along, flood damage prevention application 146, PL 25184, Matthew Randel Little at 27 Contentment Island Road. This is to construct a new pool and spa and associated patio and walkways, perform related site development activities within a regulated area, including stormwater management. Hearing closed on February 3rd. This is another draft resolution that we have in the packet. This is, if you'll recall, to put a pool in on a pretty big lot over in Contentment Island. I think, is another straightforward application, which we heard. So the resolution is fairly straightforward as well. I didn't see anything that jumped off the page to me that was incorrect or drafted inappropriately. So I think it's pretty good as written, but I'll open it up. So Jamie, any further comments?
No, thank you.
Perfect. Sounds good. Amy, anything to add?
Good.
She looks good. George, Mr. Riley?
All set.
All set there. And Mr. Mulvaney? He's got a thumbs up from there. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve as drafted. Looks like George is making a motion. There, he's on the board. Do I have a second? Looks like Amy's making a second. All those in favor? That is 5-0. Excellent. As drafted. Lovely. So that concludes the deliberations and decisions. The only other thing we could potentially have is deliberations on 805 Boston Post Road. Do we want to punt these until next week when Mr. Mulvaney's back?
It's an important application that has certainly had a lot of public involvement.
That's why I was thinking
run smoother if we were all together
in a room. Yeah, that's my thought process as well. So I don't think there's any harm in pushing it till next week, especially because it was, I watched the meeting, but it was just heard last week too. So we'll deliberate this potentially next week and go from there. Do we want to deliberate on anything closed tonight? That was extension. That was
Holly.
Huh?
10 Holly is the only one that closed tonight.
Yeah. Do we want to punt that, or do we want to? It was pretty straightforward. I mean, I'm comfortable having staff, recommend them draft an approval if there's anything anybody else sees out of the way for that.
I'm okay with that as well.
Yep.
Jamie, looking good.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll instruct staff to draft up a positive resolution for that, and hopefully we can potentially review that next week and just kind of clear out the backlog. But that's basically it for there. So chairman's report, I've got nothing to report here as de facto chairman of the committee. Mr. Ginsburg, anything to report on the director's report?
Nothing to report.
Perfect. Even easier. We've got some time before State of the Union, so we'll do these minutes really quickly. We've got 2 sets of minutes in the packet to approve. We've got January 20th and we've got February 3rd. I'm not going to review the minutes. I assume people read them. I did not find in the January 20th minutes. I thought that they were pretty much in line with what we discussed in the meeting. I didn't have any particular things to add or remove, or I didn't find any notes, but I'll open it up to the commission. Jamie, any comment on these minutes? Jans? Amy?
I'm good.
Mr. Riley? He's
Good.
good there. Mr. Mulvaney?
I'm good. Thanks, Adam.
He's good on those. Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the January 20 minute as drafted. Amy makes a motion. George makes a second. All those in favor? 5-0 on Jan 20 minutes.
Yep.
We also have a set of minutes from February the 3rd. Same thing. This is a pretty well drafted set of minutes. I watched this video on, what is now Darien TV. I don't want to keep saying TV 79. So I am up to speed on this hearing. But again, this was also a pretty straightforward set of minutes. It wasn't too particularly long. And I think it pretty much captured everything that happened there. So I have no further comment to add to the minutes. I'll open it up. Jamie, anything you wish to add, change, Scribner's errors, notes? Amy, anything?
Nope.
Looking good. George, the aforementioned attorney, looking good.
Yeah, I tried hard, but I couldn't find anything to pick
Same
away at.
thing. I ran it through AI like 7 times. Came up blank. So.
Good. Good.
Mr. Albany, anything to add on these minutes?
I'm good. Thanks, Adam.
He's good. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as drafted. Looks like Mr. Albany is making the motion down there. Yeah,
Ooh.
there he is. Amy makes a second. All those in favor? 5-0 for the Feb minutes to be approved as drafted. So I think that basically kind of signs us up. Do we want to just do a quick rehash as to what we're going to hear next week? Because
Sure.
it's going to be a pretty busy meeting.
Sure. March 3rd, which is next week, we'll start with the POCD. We're going to be looking at two aspects of it, which is the Board of Selectmen vision. And it's also going to be, I'll call it the Commission's workshop, where you get to talk on a number of topics with Neil. So if you have anything you want to chat about, issues, concerns, policies, whatever it is, send them my way. I'll add them to the list. Right now, the list is a couple pages long, but it gives you an opportunity to talk to Neil about what we've been doing. Do we want to continue to do it? The various concepts and things like that. So we'll start with the POCD next week. Of course, we have a couple continuations of public hearings you heard tonight. And so that would be 45 Old Farm, Country Club of Darien, and the Land Trust, those three hearings. And
Weburn.
Weburn as well. So it's a pretty full night. We may take one or, depending on how the everything shakes out, maybe add one or two general meeting items at the end, whether that is, Steve just texted me and said we will likely be putting an appointment of a potential replacement for Mike Netter on next week's agenda. I almost forgot about that. And maybe we'll talk about ADUs and how that's been doing if we have time. So a full night. And it's in room 119 downstairs.
119. Okay. And for the 10th, do we have anything big, or are we going to try and play it by ear?
10th is going to be same thing. You're going to start with the POCD. Looks like the environmental chapter, community facilities. We're going to have two public hearings that night. One is on a zoning change, and the other is the subdivision of St. Paul's. I don't know if that's going to go on. I think they were on for that night, but we'll see. We may have an executive session that night to discuss one piece of pending litigation. I'm waiting to hear back from town council whether that's ripe for discussion or it's something to get pushed to another night.
Okay. Great. All right. Well, thank you for that. Even though it seemed like a busy meeting, we ended up making it a short meeting. So we all get some of our evening back and can watch State of the Union in about 40 minutes, as we tend to try and do every year, is to wrap this meeting up pretty quick so we can watch it. So with that, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing. Jamie makes a motion. Amy makes the second. All those in favor? Hearing is closed, 8:19 p.m.